Ron Harris here from MuscularDevelopment.com with my partner in coverage this weekend, all the way from the UK, Giles Tiger Thomas. You know him, you love him. I'm so glad to have him here with me. We just finished up the press conference inside the Orleans Arena, and it was a little more eventful than usual. We did see a few little exchanges. I was surprised that the biggest exchange was at the end when they let the audience answer some questions. And you know, you'd think like Phil Heath and these guys, Cedric, that would be the drama, but the biggest thing people are going to be talking about was this guy named George Brown in the men's physique started taking shots at Jeremy Buendia, the three-time reigning champ. Were you surprised how heated that exchange got, Giles?
Yeah, I'm surprised Bob didn't jump in, actually, because I think it had been pretty tame, the press conference up to that point, and then that George, because Dennis realised that actually George was competing. He goes, whoa, you're competing? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, oh, okay, we got a call out here, you know. So yeah, it was pretty funny. I thought it was quite handbags at dawn, I thought, but yeah, it was good. It was good. And I thought Buendia was you could see he was genuinely really annoyed. Yeah. He was getting loud. He was getting pretty pissed off.
Yeah, you know, Phil Heath in the past, he's had some words with guys like Kai. Nothing really got too emotional, too heated this time, although he did have a little exchange with Dexter when Dexter Jackson talked about the fact that Phil turned pro and did not do the Olympia for 2 or 3 years, whereas Dexter turned pro and jumped right in. And they actually seemed, for a little while there, to get there was a little anger going, would you say?
Yeah, I think people know how to push Phil's buttons. I think a few years ago it used to be Kai, and I think one thing Phil's people comment about is online is he will respond to anyone, any trolls, anything. And I think this is a bit of I think it's something he needs to take care of, because Dexter was pushing his buttons and he was responding and he wasn't coming off great. Yeah, he wasn't coming off great. So yeah, it was interesting, but yeah.
Well, we're not here to just talk about the press conference. Obviously, we're going to be talking right now about the Olympia weekend coming up. So we're going to start with taking a look at some of the divisions that we're going to be paying special attention to. First up.
Do you want to talk about the 212?
Let's talk about the 212, guys. So why don't you talk about it for a bit here? What do you see as being the biggest battles this year?
Well, obviously, Flex, obviously, we want to see get number 6. I'm more interested in seeing some of the new guys come up. Ash Kanani, I'm more interested to see if he's brought his legs up this year. I'd like to see some of the new guys, you know, the guys like Sean Clarida. I'd like to see him. I mean, he's one of these smaller guys. He's like 170, but he's won pro shows. He's beaten guys like Charles Dixon. He's quite a very complete physique, but he's someone that I want to see some new faces. And I tell you what I do want to see. I want to see Dave Henry get a proper place in this year, because 5th place last year was... I couldn't, I mean, last year I was sat in the audience and I thought it was really close between him and Flex. So for him to get 5th, I felt really bad for him. Milan Sadek, another a European guy, a Czech guy, he's someone that could definitely sneak into the top 5, 6 mark, maybe even higher.
What about your guy from the UK, Ricardo Correa?
Ricardo, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Ricardo snuck into the top 5. You see, the thing about Ricardo is he's a hard worker. I mean, he had his pro debut at Tampa last year. He messed up. His coach, it all went wrong, and he got 14th. It's funny. I saw him at a show a few weeks later, and he says, "Oh, he gave me the old, oh, you should have seen me 5 days before. I'd have been 2nd." And I was thinking, okay, Ricardo, I know you're good, mate, but 2nd to 14th, really? Did that make that much of a difference? But yeah, so this year he prepped himself, and he won Vancouver and Chicago, and he beat guys like Charles Dixon. I forget the other guys, but he won 2 very, very, very good shows. Mark Dugdale. Yeah. So there's a new face, and he's also moving to America in November.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and his girlfriend Nikki Chun-Li Jones, she's a bikini pro. So they're looking to make waves. I mean, he's a young kid. I think he's 28 still. So there's someone that could really... It seems like he's following in the footsteps of Flex Lewis. Everything that he's doing, the way he's promoting himself, the way he's hustling, the way he's kind of moving, he's very, very well liked. So there's someone I would really love to see get some really good call-outs with, like guys like Jose, you know, Dave Henry, Flex Lewis.
Okay. So Classic Physique, this is only the 2nd year that we've had this at the Olympia. It's only the 2nd season that this division has existed, but Yeah, they got a lot of attention. They were already up on the main stage during the press conference this year, whereas I believe this is the first year the 212's ever been involved in the press conference.
There was no 212s last year. This year they just had the top 5 from last year.
Right. So, you know, these guys are already getting a lot of prestige, a lot of attention. The big talk, of course, Flex Wheeler coming back. Everyone was curious about how Flex was going to look, and he finally put out a video last week so everyone could see the entire physique, including the legs, and he's looking really good. Of course, you know, he's got to go up against Danny Hester, his very long-time friend and former training partner. Danny's also looking great. And, you know, this is amazing. We got 2 of the guys we're talking the most about in this show are 52 and 48 years old. Yeah, I'll be 48 next week. Thank you. Gift cards are always welcome. But you also have some guys that weren't in the press conference. Some youngsters like Chris Bumstead. He's going to be one to look out for.
22 years old.
22 years old from Canada. Phenomenal V-taper, amazing legs.
Can I say something about the
You may.
Thank you. I think with guys like Chris Bumstead, it's like what they tried to do with the women's physique. They wanted to take it back 25 years. And Chris Bumstead, he reminds me of, like, say, Berry DeMay. You know, around 98, 97, 98, where, you know, these guys were on front covers. They appealed to a much wider demographic, you know. And I think Chris, at 22 years old, I mean, the guy could still be competing as an international amateur junior. And here he is winning pro shows. He can do a vacuum. And sometimes I think there's more talk around these kinds of physiques now than maybe because the open men's has maybe got a little bit stale. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's, you know, maybe you know that Phil is going to win 10. So it's and there was like you said just then, there was a lot of questions directed to the classic guys in this press conference, and it was on Dennis and Bob Chick's notes. So I think they're really trying to push this class.
Yeah, and, you know, just don't want to leave out, we also have last year's runner-up Arash Rabar is in the show. I'm sure he's going to look phenomenal. Sadiq, third place also. These are all guys to watch for, as well as Breon Ansley, Terrence Ruffin. Some really great physiques that we'll be looking out for. So let's get to the main event here, the Open Mr Olympia. Yeah, Phil has 6, very likely going to get 7. I mean, it's going to take a lot to knock him off, but who do you think has the potential, if they come in looking just insane, to knock Phil off?
I want to see Cedric move up. I want to see him bring his A game to the Olympia, because so far last year he looked great, but he was a bit watery around the abs, and he just didn't quite have it. But he's one of those guys that I want to see the guys like Nathan DeAsher move up. I want to see Josh Lenartowicz move up. I want to see I want to see the newer guys move up, and I want to see William Bonnet get a bit of a better place in this year, because I had him 2nd last year. And I mean, they were saying at the press conference that the Olympias won from the back, and they were just asking the different competitors, and I'm telling you, William Bonnet matched Phil Heath in that rear double bicep last year. I mean, top to toe, I had him 2nd.
I mean, with all due respect to Sean Roden, who was 2nd last year, traditionally that sets you up as the favorite to upset the champion next year. But I don't quite see it that way. There's a lot of really good guys going in. Rami, you know, if Rami shows us something we've never seen before, some detail and maturity that we've never seen before, who knows what could happen. You still have Dexter in the mix. Rolly Winkler's looking absolutely massive. Lenarkowitz could be up in the top 5, top 6 for sure. Brendan Curry, who was in the press conference.
Yeah, where was he, Brendan?
He wasn't invited, but certainly could shake things up. Could be, who knows, as high as 2nd or 3rd. You never know.
2nd, 3rd.
He could be. Who knows?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Brandon's top 5. Okay. I would not be surprised. But Rami, I honestly think, I've got a feeling Rolly is going to out-freak Rami this year. Because everyone sees Rami as the big, but he kind of brought it down last year, and I think he looked better. And then he did the post-Olympia shows, and I think the more he brings it down, the more impressive he looks, because he's actually not got a bad shape. He's big, but he has actually got quite nice lines in like the side tricep, the side chest. So, but I've got a feeling, I think what Rolly's done, because I think Rolly's got a nice shape, and I saw him at Body Power last year, and I don't know how he did it, but he brought that waist down but got bigger. And now I thought that previous to that was an impossibility. So yeah, I've got a feeling Rolly's going to be the new freak on the block this year.
Yeah. Well, we don't have to wait too long. Judging for the Olympia is tomorrow night, Friday night. Judging for the other divisions is during the day, and they're going to be having their finals Friday night. So we'll find out. We don't have to wait too long. It's going to be an interesting show. I'm sure we're going to see some shakeups, some surprises, and that's always that's what we come here to see. So from Las Vegas, in front of the Orleans, for Muscular Development, it's Giles Tiger Thomas with Ron Harris. Coverage brought to you by High Tech Pharmaceuticals.